Hey coin collectors, and welcome to the DC Coin World International coin channel. And today we're going to take a look at the 1940 United States Mercury Dime. And you saw the title on this video and you said, wait, what? A $35,000 dime? Actually, $35,250 it sold for, according to PCGS, on March 21st, 2019. It is a MS68 Plus full bands dime. We're going to talk about that, and clearly this isn't it here, because on a full bands dime, you're not going to have any wear at all. On an MS68 Plus, you're not going to have any wear at all. So let's look at the 1940, though, and kind of figure out some stuff about it. It says Liberty around the top, and you notice that the E and the R are both kind of a little bit inside the hair of Mercury, or the wings of Mercury. So Mercury here is a Roman god with winged head, helmet kind of thing. And can you tell this is a helmet? If you look on a real good one, you can see the smooth up here, and then you can see that line coming across. It's a helmet. So it's a helmet with wings on it that allows Mercury to fly around. Underneath Mercury's chin, it says, "In God We Trust." Back here, it says 1940. And way, way back here is something that looks like a W and an A mixed together. And that's for Adolf Alexander Weinman, who did the engraving of this coin. Now, these coins have been out for a while. They first came out in 1916, and then they stopped making them in 1945. And there was a reason that they stopped making them, not because they still weren't good, but because Franklin Roosevelt died in 1945. So in 1946, they came out with the Roosevelt dime to replace the Mercury dime. And this is a 1946 dime here. It says Liberty in front of Roosevelt. "In God We Trust" under his chin, 1946. And this is a little worn, but it's tough because people just didn't, this was right after World War II, right at the end of World War II, and people just didn't scoop these up and collect them. They were using them because they were worth a lot. 1946. You'll see it says United States of America on the back. Back here is an S. So in 1946, they made the Philadelphia with no mint mark. They made the Denver with a D, and then they made San Francisco with an S. Well, they also made the 1940s with no mint mark. And let me show you one right here. This is where the mint mark would go on the back of a Mercury dime. It says United States of America across the top, one dime across the bottom. These are both stars, and it's hard to tell these are stars if you have a really worn version. Then there's an E, and there's a dot between E and pluribus. So these are all things you're going to look for if you want to look at the quality. We see this olive branch going up around. You can actually see some olives in here. There's one, and it goes up around this instrument, and it's a war instrument, and it's called a fasces, Fasces. And you can see the kind of blade on it. So this is the actual Mercury dime. They are worth a couple bucks each, just because they have a couple bucks worth of silver in them. But in general, like if you look up this dime for 1940 Philly, you're going to see them starting at about $2 and going into uncirculated at $5 or $6. However, there are 11,827 proof versions of the Philly dime, and those are somewhat more valuable. They're hugely valuable. They're in the hundreds of dollars. We looked at the back, and we're going, well, what does a full bands version even mean? Well, it turns out that on the back of this one is actually 3 bands, then there's 2 bands, and then there's 2 bands at the bottom. And in order to have a full bands version, you actually have to have those, plus you have to have separation. I'm going to show you the $35,000 one from the PCGS website. And what is PCGS? It's a professional coin grading service, and on their website they actually have a picture of the full bands version. Let me see if I can get it set up. It's kind of hard to move the camera around. Whoa, there goes something. So see the bands on there? When you look at this, you can see that there's 3 bands at the top, 2 bands here, and 2 bands here. And you also have to have the downward ones and the kind of ribbon or rope that's going around it to hold it together. So when you talk about the Fold Vans version, this is what you're talking about. And it's going to be almost impossible to get a coin like that, simply because the proof versions will be a lot closer, but they're actually a different thing than a regular Fold Vans version. So what are the mint marks on the back of this 1940 look like? Well, as I said, the Philadelphia is blank, and that's right here. The Denver has a D on it, and you can see that right here. And you can actually see a little bit more definition in the bands. You can actually see that there might, well, I don't know if you can tell that there's 3 bands there, but you can see that there's a little more definition. And that's the Denver version, and then here is the San Francisco version with the S down here. And again, that's why they're so expensive, because it's almost impossible to even think about getting a full bands version on any of these. And if you can get one, you'd have to actually have saved it since probably 1940 in order for it to be in that good a shape. We talked about what they're worth in full bands. We also talked about that these are probably worth a couple bucks each. The D is actually worth a buck or two more than the Philly from 1940, if you get it in relatively good condition. The S is the most valuable of the regular ones. If you get this in uncirculated, you're talking about $11 or $12. This uncirculated D, you're talking about $5 or $6. In an uncirculated P, you're talking about $10. So look for them out there, and good luck coin hunting from DC Coin World International Coin Channel.